To achieve these goals and to achieve our Vision 2030, we must be responsible stewards of our natural resources. In light of this, my commitment and the commitment of the government will be to support the National Land Commission as they seek to provide the land answer. My government will strive to work with all actors to ensure that the issue of land will never again be a contentious or divisive subject, but rather that land will be seen as what it truly is, a factor of production. I promise also that we will exploit our natural resources in a way that benefits the current generation while safeguarding the interests of generations to come. I want to assure all Kenyans that we shall use all the money that comes from our natural resources for development programs. Fellow Kenyans, we will ensure that the harmony we are striving for extends to our environment. It is indeed our heritage, and it is our duty as guardians and custodians of that heritage to protect it for future generations. Indeed, my government will strike a decisive blow against all those that threaten it. My fellow Kenyans, poaching and the destruction of our environment has no future in this country. The responsibility to protect our environment belongs not just to the government, but to each and every one of us. We will do this and more. My fellow Kenyans, our objective is to ensure that where there is uncertainty in our nation, we will revive confidence in the government's ability to protect its citizens. Where there is disillusion, we will restore hope. Where there is opportunity denied, we will open new frontiers, and through our actions, we will renew our faith in government as an instrument of good. Let me reiterate that even as we work together to promote inclusion, open new frontiers, and create new opportunities, we will not tolerate those who continue to threaten the peace and the security of our citizens. Criminals, cattle rustlers, drug barons, and agents of terror who disrupt the peace of our society will be met with the full force of the law and the strength of Kenya's security forces. And on this matter, we are resolute. To our men and women in uniform, I say this: nation is indebted to you. You continue to lay down your lives in service, protecting Kenyans from threats, both external and internal. My government will continue to work with you and to do all that is in its power to support you as you continue your noble duty. To our sister countries in the region, we understand that our future is joined to yours. Our peace is linked to the security and stability of the region. We deployed our armed forces to Somalia because terrorism and piracy affects all of us. Indeed, in the last 2 decades, Kenya has invested immense diplomatic energy and resources in the quest for a stable Somalia. Our commitment to fight terrorism and eradicate piracy will remain a central pillar of my government's policy on peace and security. As President, I will work with the international community to strengthen its support for IGAD and the AU process in Somalia, because a stable and prosperous Somalia is in the interest of all nations. My fellow Kenyans, the future of Kenya depends not only on our national unity, but also on deepening our bonds with our brothers and sisters in Eastern Africa and Africa as a whole. It is with this unity that we will prosper and truly deliver on the promise of independence and liberation from our colonial past. My administration is therefore committed to regional trade and cooperation, and will continue to strengthen ties through the free movement of people, goods, and investment, including the removal of all non-tariff barriers to trade within the East African community. My goal is to see the continued growth of our community towards ultimate integration. As Kenya celebrates its Jubilee year of freedom and independence, Africa too marks slightly over 50 years since the fall of colonialism. The breakaway from colonialism has not been easy. Indeed, it has been fraught with great challenges and setbacks. Without fail, however, the trajectory of our recent history in Kenya, as in Africa, has been one of great hope, renewed progress, and palpable determination. Africa, ladies and gentlemen, is on the rise. Kenya the great renaissance spoken of a mere 20 years ago is upon us. Across our continent, evidence of renewal and growth is everywhere, built on the bedrock of rising self-confidence, a growing educated and youthful population, and God-given abundance of natural wealth and resources. To the nations of Africa and the African Union, we assure you that in Kenya, you will continue to have a partner and an ally. If we stand together in solidarity, I am confident that we'll find the strength to thrive and innovate solutions that work for us. Of course, we join you in continuing to insist on relating with all nations as equals, not juniors, as partners, not subordinates. In our history as nations, we have seen some of the most ardent supporters of ideals of national sovereignty and democracy sometimes fail to live by the principles they espouse. But let us remember that their failure shall never justify ours. To the nations of the world, we acknowledge that in this age of globalization, all of us are interdependent. Our economies are interconnected, as indeed are our people. I pledge to continue cultivating the relationships we have had with our traditional partners. And I say to all developing and developed nations who desire a deeper and more mutually beneficial relationship with Kenya, we are ready for partnership, we are open for business, and we invite you to invest in our country. I also wish to remind the international community that for the last 50 years of our independence, Kenya has been one of the most engaged members and one of the most prolific co-authors of international treaties and instruments. I assure you, again, that under my leadership, Kenya will strive to uphold our international obligations so long as these are founded on the well-established principle of mutual respect and reciprocity. Central to our continued contribution to the international community will be the understanding that the world is made up of many countries, many cultures, different political experiences, and indeed worldviews. We must remember that no country or group of countries should have control or monopoly on international institutions or the interpretation of international treaties. While each state has a right to its own view, it must respect the fact that it holds just one view amongst many in the community of nations. Fellow Kenyans, today work begins. The time has come not to ask what community we come from, but rather what dreams we share. The time has come to ask not what political party we belong to, but rather what partnerships we can build. The time has come to ask not who we voted for, but what future we are all devoted to. My fellow Kenyans, we must move forward together. Let us remember that although we may not be bound together by ethnicity or cultural practices or religious conviction, our kinship rests solidly upon the fact that we have all been adopted by Kenya's borders. We are all children of this nation. We are all bound to one constitution, which calls us to rise above our individual ideologies and march to our national anthem. That anthem reminds us of the fundamental principles upon which our prosperity must be built. It calls us to reflect on the power of peace, to recall the supreme value of freedom, to believe once more in the beauty of service and brotherhood, to aspire each day to the dignity that results from hard work, and to contend for the hope that justice brings. Brothers and sisters, fellow Kenyans, let us move together in the spirit of our anthem, in the spirit of our Constitution, being confident that if we turn neither to the left nor to the right of our national values, we as a people will see the promised land of prosperity that our forebears set out for us. Wananchi wenzangu, kwa hayo mengi, mimi nataka kuwashukuru Wakenya wote pahali popote walipo. Wengi walitamania ya kwamba Kenya tutakuwa vita, tutakuwa na vurugu, Wakenya watapigana. Tumeaibisha wale wote ambao walikuwa wanafikiria kwamba taifa la Kenya hatuwezi kusimama pamoja. Langu siku ya leo ni kuwauliza Wakenya wote, mukubali tushirikiane, mukubali tufanye kazi pamoja, tukijua ya kwamba uchaguzi sio uadui. Sisi ni Wakenya na sisi wote twatakikana tujumuike pamoja, tujenge taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa wale ambao tulishindana na hawa, nirudie tena ya kwamba mashindano sio uadui. Njooni tufanye kazi kwa niaba ya Wakenya na taifa letu la Kenya. Sisi na ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa William Ruto tutajitolea mhanga kuhakikisha tumeunganisha taifa letu la Kenya, tumeweka Wakenya pamoja, ndio tuweze kutimiza zile ahadi mbalimbali ambazo tumepatia wananchi wetu wa Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya. Niwahakikishie, tukiongozwa na Mwenyezi Mungu na umoja wetu kama Wakenya, sina shaka ya kwamba tutafaulu na ushindi utakuwa wa kila Mkenya pahali popote alipo katika taifa letu la Kenya. Tuwashukuru, nikimalizia, tuwashukuru mzee wetu ambaye ametufanyia kazi kwa muda wa miaka 10 na ambaye leo amestaafu. Tuwakushukuru mzee wetu Kibaki, Mungu akulinde ukiwa katika retirement. Na kama vijana wako, usifunge mlango kabisa. Tutakuwa tunabishabisha wakati tunatafuta mashauri ya wazee, ndio tuweze kusongesha taifa letu mbele. Kwa hayo machache, kwa sababu nafasi tutakuwa nazo nyingi za kuongea pamoja, nasema Wakenya, turudi kazini, tujenge taifa letu. Mungu awalinde Wakenya wote, Mungu alinde taifa letu la Kenya, na Mungu alinde kontinenti letu la Afrika. Mungu na abariki. Asanteni sana. Asante.